All right, today we are diving into a really fascinating and, yeah, pretty complex theory about how our minds work. It's an idea that pulls from some incredible Nobel Prize-winning neuroscience to suggest a whole new way of looking at focus, memory, and even empathy. Seriously, this is going to challenge some of the stuff we just assume is true about thinking.
So let's just kick things off with a question that gets right to the heart of it. We all know what multitasking feels like, right? It's usually just doing a bunch of things kind of poorly. But what if there was another way? A way to actually hold multiple deep streams of thought at the very same time? Not by splitting your attention into tiny pieces, but by integrating it. That's the puzzle we're going to try and piece together today.
Now, before we can even get to the wilder ideas, we have to start with some solid, established science. And believe it or not, the whole foundation for this theory rests on some incredible Nobel Prize-winning discoveries about how our brains physically build frameworks for memory and experience.
Okay, first up we have something called place cells. The easiest way to think about these is like your brain's own built-in GPS. They are these amazing little neurons that fire up in specific locations, literally creating a mental map of your surroundings. This is how you remember where the door is, or how you can navigate your own house in the dark. It's the brain's fundamental system for building a stable map of the physical world.
Now, taking that idea a step further, the source we're looking at introduces a similar concept it calls grid cells. So if place cells map out our space, the idea here is that grid cells map out our effort over time. They're basically the neural basis for perseverance, for sticking with something tough. The source is proposing that this is literally the biology of grit, the brain's mechanism that lets us hang in there when things get hard.
So here's the big takeaway from this part. Our brains have these proven biological systems for creating stable long-term maps. Maps of our world and maps of our efforts within that world. This isn't just a theory. This is the scientific bedrock that this whole idea of multi-monotropic thinking is built on.
Okay, so we've got that biological foundation laid out. Now let's see how that hardware can run a really specific kind of operating system, How it builds into a unique cognitive style.
And that brings us to this key concept, monotropic focus. Mono, of course, just means one. So this is the brain's ability to just pour all of its attention into one single, persistent train of thought. Think of it like a laser beam. It's about anchoring all of your mental resources into one powerful, singular framework.
Now, the source material we're digging into suggests that this kind of focus can actually be mastered. It proposes what it calls a DC cognitive style. So the D is for dominant, think assertive, results-focused, and the C is for conscientious, careful, analytical. The idea is that when you combine those traits, you can wield that single, monotropic focus with incredible precision. And it's mastering that single focus that apparently unlocks the next level. This is where we get to the really core theory, an idea that is miles away from that frustrating experience we all have with multitasking.
And here's the huge leap. We go from monotropic thinking, that one deep channel, to multi-monotropic thinking. But notice, it's not about a different kind of focus. It's the ability to maintain multiple streams of that same deep focus, all running in parallel, all integrated. So instead of just one framework, you suddenly have this layered, connected way of thinking.
And this is maybe the most important distinction we can make. This is the complete, total opposite of multitasking, right? Multitasking shatters your attention. You're just switching back and forth, back and forth. But multi-monotropic thinking, at least according to this theory, is all about deliberate, deeply connected attention. You aren't switching between tasks, you're attending to multiple focus streams at the exact same time.
To help us wrap our heads around this, the source offers a really cool analogy from the world of audio engineering. Dr. Amar Bose's concept of multi-mono. See, in a sound system, instead of having one speaker try to do everything from bass to treble, you have multiple, specialized speakers working together. The result is a much richer, clearer sound. It's not just noise, it's layered clarity. And that's the feeling this cognitive style is supposed to create inside your head.
So let's just quickly trace this whole path from beginning to end. It all starts with the basic biology, right? Our place and grit cells that handle memory and perseverance. That solid foundation makes it possible to master a single monotropic focus. Then, over time, that mastery can evolve into this ability to handle multiple deep streams at once. And the final result? The source has this amazing name for it, prismatic vision. It's the ability to see the world not just through one lens, but through a prism that shows you multiple integrated layers all at once.
But wait, the theory doesn't just stop there with pure thinking.
It adds one final and pretty profound layer that connects this whole mental architecture to how we experience things together as humans.
Okay, the source uses a really provocative, kind of challenging term here, empathic sadism. But let's be super clear what it means in this context, because it has nothing to do with cruelty. It's describing this powerful emotional connection that makes you, as the listener or the reader, feel truly implicated in what's happening. You're not just watching from the sidelines. You feel like you're an active participant in the emotional state being shared. You know, like when a storyteller is so good, you can feel their character's anxiety in your own chest. That's the idea.
I mean, just think about the difference between listening to a song on your headphones and actually being at a live concert. The recording, it's a perfect but static thing. But the live show, that's a shared experience. Your brain literally lights up differently. There's this dynamic, social, emotional coupling created between you, the band, and everyone else in the crowd. You are implicated in that moment.
And you know, this feeling isn't just some vague psychological thing. It has a real neurochemical basis. The source points to hormones like oxytocin, which helps with social bonding, and this amazing phenomenon called neuron coupling, where our brainwaves literally start to sync up with other people in a shared experience. It's the hard science behind what we might call a shared vibe. It's why things feel so much more intense in a group and how our brains can pick out logical sounds even in a chaotic, cheering crowd.
So, to bring this all together, what we've really been exploring here is a theory about a cognitive architecture that is just incredibly rich and layered. It starts with the basic biology of memory and perseverance, it builds up into a mastery of layered, deep attention, and it all culminates in this profound capacity for shared emotional connection.
And that leaves us with one last, really big question to chew on. If a mind can actually operate like this, integrating memory, focus, and empathy into this kind of prismatic vision, it kind of messes with our basic idea of a single shared reality, doesn't it? It suggests that if our internal wiring can be so fundamentally different, then our perception of the world around us might be too. So it makes you wonder, how might we all be perceiving reality in our own completely unique way? Something to think about. Thanks for tuning in.